Let's do a very short warm-up, just 5 minutes. Settle the feet, pluck the brow, feel the change in shape of the body. So you lift up the crown of the head, feel the change in shape, allow the body to change shape because the muscles are loose. If the muscles are held, your body won't change shape. As soon as your muscles melt off the bones, your whole body changes shape, especially the curves in the back. And then we open up into parallel stance. We open up into first loosening exercise. And first of all, just establish that as you move your center of gravity across and turn, you don't corrupt the quality of contact you've got on the ground. It's really important that your movement isn't supported by any tension in the body. And the tension can be substantiality as much as contracting muscles. So when we move our weight across, we still want to feel like we're dropping down under the foot and into the ground. We don't want to feel like we're moving against something that's getting tighter. We don't want to feel our substantiality getting much stronger. So the lowering of the knee combined with the sinking doesn't really make the foot press that much more strongly onto the ground. But we want to make sure that the center of the foot is in place, that we're not rolling the knee in, and that the movement across directs the force to the center of the foot. The first thing. Then when we've got that, we want to make sure that the movement is initiated with a release. The movement towards the foot is initiated with a letting go. It's a letting go in both legs, and it's a letting go of the muscles that are holding me up. Both knees bend as a result, and there's a sinking that takes place within the body. We've talked about this before, about a lift shaft and the lift in the middle going up and down. The sinking on the inside is like the lift going down, and the movement is like the lift shaft going down. So here we've got two things. We've got the lift shaft moving across and sinking, but on the inside we've also got the lift melting down the shaft at the same time, and it all arrives together. There's quality of releasing, turning, moving, and maintaining stability as we move. I'm not really even talking about the basics of upright, smooth movement, accurate movement. I'm not talking about the basics. I'm talking much more about coordinating the internal and the external. And then we try and bring this movement into our form. What we find in these changes and the movement of the smooth movement of the center across without disrupting the base, everything finishing together, we try and bring into the form. So this movement here with the hip opening, the opening of the substantial hip, is very much like when we sit back and we turn open here. We're opening the substantial hip. So the mechanics of what has to happen when I open the hip and turn here, the mechanics here are very similar. The weight's over one foot and I'm turning without disrupting the foot, without rocking the foot on the ground. Here I'm turning, I'm opening the hip and I'm not disrupting the foot on the ground. The mechanics are very similar. If we do the second loosening exercise, one of the things we can work on that again we want to bring into each movement of the form is this feeling of the back elongating. And this comes about because the muscles of the thighs soften enough to allow the pelvis to fully sit and not be held up by the muscles, not to hold the body up, but this whole area can drop because the thighs melt and they allow this area to sink, seat the hips, and with it, the lower back hangs and the legs have to take the weight of the body. They become a little bit more substantial. And the feeling is that the back falls away from the crown of the head, the lower back. We want that feeling to take place throughout the 4 swings of the arms. So it's a continuous change. That back is sinking and lowering for 4 swings of the arms and then coming back up. And releasing. So again, the analogy, the lift shaft is going down, which is the structure of the body going to a new position. And within it, the lift is sinking within the lift shaft. So you have sinking taking place and slightly lowering taking place. And you work out the difference between lowering and sinking and the combination of a lowering and sinking. And this feeling of lowering and sinking we bring into the form. Lowering puts the body in a new position. Sinking puts the body into a grounded, connected position. Sinking is part physical, also a mental process to sink your mind through the body, deep down under the feet into wells within the earth that you're just sinking into. In the form, when we sit back, as we come forwards, we sink down into both feet. Yes, we're going from one leg and our centre of gravity is moving forwards and down into both legs. So it's a little bit different, but the feeling of this sinking down and connecting, moving the frame or moving the lift shaft into a new position and at the same time sinking on the inside. So we end up with stability. We don't end up jamming ourselves on the ground or jamming our muscles so they can't change. And to recognize the similarity. As I let my muscles change, what happens to the body? Can I glide into the position where I'm sinking and I'm lowering, my knees are bending and I'm lowering myself and I achieve stability in the center, upright, stable posture that feels comfortable. Doing it all the time in the form, coming into the center. All the time back hanging. Back starts hanging as soon as you start to move in, continues hanging, finally settles into the center before you expand the back leg to issue. Just a few key things, because it's very easy in our practice just to go through the form and Go through the form, notice one thing, next posture, notice something else, next posture, notice something else, next posture, focus on a new thing because the posture feels different shape. And what we want to try and do as we go through our form is focus much more on the principles that are within the form. So, can I move in a way that keeps the foot lightly connected? Can I turn without disrupting the foot? Can I turn back without disrupting the foot? Can I sink into both feet? Staying upright without disrupting the foot. Can I expand the back leg or increase the substantiality in the back leg to bring the connection through to the wrists without disturbing the feet? Can you see how that's a different inquiry from, are my hands in the right position? Are my shoulders relaxed? I'm trying to maintain a principle as I go through the form. I'm trying to ensure that the one quality that I'm looking at is present. So as I go through the form, I choose what I'm working with. For the beginners, am I upright the whole form? Am I upright? Am I upright? Am I upright? No, I'm leaning forwards. No, I'm leaning backwards. For the beginners, is my movement smooth? Continuous? Is it stopping anywhere? For the intermediate, different. Once you can achieve the basics, we add the layers, the layers. And in your own practice, it's really, really useful to know what layer you're inquiring into. And, you know, for a period of a month or two even, what's the prime thing that's exciting you about your practice? What gets you to practice? What do you look at when you practice? What do you explore? How do you unpack what you do so you can see this one quality that you're looking for? It may be a part of the body. It may be a part or a muscle group that you work with. It may be a quality of your calming your mind and settling into the sensations. It may be something completely different. But for your practice to really feed you, have something that's clear that you're working with when you train. Let's look at that move Jim just asked about. I'll go through it once and then we can see it. Waving hands in clouds. When you come to the last one, you're moving towards your left leg. Hands on the center line of the body. Same as before, when you sink onto your left foot, your hands turn over. With it, the left foot turns out. My hands are still on the center line of the body. My left toes turn out and I move on to the left foot. As my hips turn and my weight goes to the left foot, my right foot comes in. So now my feet are parallel. I was facing 12 o'clock in the form. As I move my left toes open, they go to 10:30. As I move my right toes in, they go to 10:30 as well, approximately. Feet approximately parallel. And my hands have turned over. As the weight arrives on the left foot, the hands have turned over. Why? Because the body is sinking. The lower back is elongating. The shoulders are following the sinking of the base. As the shoulders drop, the hands move. So all this connected, synchronized movement comes about from the base changing, the thighs releasing to allow the movement in, because it's a controlled falling in. The hip joints soften and the lower back releases to elongate the back. The back muscles soften and elongate. The shoulders follow, the chest opens, the shoulders roll, and the hands turn over. So the hands arrive in the ball position with the left down, the right up, at the same time as my weight arrives in the left foot, and I'm facing the corner 10:30. Let's just do that a little bit first. What I want to make sure is that you're not just moving, you're feeling how you move. You're opening up the foot, and then you're sinking the shaft of the lift and the lift itself. And you arrive together. And finish with the right toes turning it, holding the ball. Try that a few times. Let your right foot turn in because your hips are turning. This means that your hip joints have to fold. Your hip joint has to fold here. This is the third loosening exercise. The hip joint folds, hand go that. Weight becomes substantial on the left. This is the third loosening exercise. Substantial on the left, hips fold, but this time the foot's coming in. But this feeling here is the same. Finishing off in the left foot. Then, both feet parallel, left foot. Move onto the left foot and the right heel comes off the ground. And with that, there's more turning. With that, there's more turning. Hands are still in line with the center of the body, but there's more turning. So I've gone from 10:30. Now I'm facing 9 o'clock. So my left hip joint is really folded. My body now faces 9 o'clock, holding the ball. When I turn back, this is when I drop the arms on the turn back. As I turn back, the hands drop here, all the weight in the left. This movement, like playing golf, turn the hips and the shoulders follow. Turn the hips, the shoulders follow. Touch with the heel of the right foot very, very lightly. Very light. As the wrist arrives, so does the heel. You have to be well balanced in your left foot to enable you to step. And the turning of the waist, as fluid as it is, doesn't want to disturb your balance or tighten up your left leg. So when we do this move together, you make sure that you're upright and releasing as you turn. Because the releasing is going to give you the stability, it's going to give you the substantiality in the leg. The releasing is going to give you the substantiality, not the tightening of the muscles. So, Toby, hi. We are doing the movement after waving hands like clouds. Through to here, the things we're looking at are turning open the left foot, folding the hip as you get stable on the left foot. And as you turn, your right toes come in. As you sink, softening the thigh, elongating the back, dropping the tail, the shoulders follow, and the hands turn over. Then move on to the left foot and continue that turn. And as you turn back, the hands drop, sinking. Step forwards with the heel. no weight in the right heel. Then, as you come forward into the 50-50, the heel of the right is put down on the ground because the weight comes into the foot. This is how we should step normally. So we shouldn't put the foot flat on the ground. We should put the heel down because the knee bends and the weight comes into the center stable position. As I arrive in the center, the ball of the right foot automatically goes into place and I'm connected. This one. Here, there's a small issue from the back knee. The back foot pushes into the ground. That's the basic instruction. The next level of instruction is the knee opens. That's the next level in instruction. The next level of instruction is the back leg becomes more substantial. The pressure within the back leg expands through to the hook, and there's a small wave of force to the hook. I move forward onto the right foot, the left heel comes off the ground, turn open, take a step. This doesn't have to be forward, it can be slightly to the side. As I turn my waist, the foot arranges itself, then the back foot, then settling square. And again, another substantiality of the back leg, opening the knee, pushing the foot into the ground to bring a wave of force to both hands. Let's do that movement. Let's go from diagonal flying, facing 1/2 moving onto the front foot turn, folding the right hip, step, waving hands like clouds, onto the left foot. Make sure your hands turning over are part of the lift sinking through your body. So when your lower back relaxes and drops, your shoulders follow, your hands turn over. Change, hands step in, turn. As you're sinking onto your right foot and turning, your shoulders drop and your hands turn over. As you're sinking onto your left foot, you're folding your left hip and turning, your lower back's opening, your shoulders drop and your hands turn over, step in. As you move onto your left foot, your lower back's opening, your shoulders are following, your hands turning over and you're stable. Change hands. Step in, turn. As you sink to your right foot, your lower back opens, your shoulders follow, and your hands turn over. Finishing the hands turning over, as you arrive, turn to the corner and stable. Then you can change hands and change feet. Move. Look for your stability by melting the muscles, opening the lower back, the shoulders follow and the hands turn over and you're turning the body. You're folding your hip just like exercise number 3. When you've got your stability, you can change hands and step in without tightening and without changing your balance position. This exercise, waving hands like clouds, is really good for bringing together the sinking, the stability, and the finishing of the move together. Because at the end of it, at the end of the move, you're going to step and change hands. So you need to be substantially connected at the end of the move. You can't get halfway there and then grasp and tighten your body to move this leg. So the moving into the leg creates the opening of the lower back, creates the movement of the shoulders, the hands turn over, finish the move there. Then I can change hands and step out. Have a little play with that. Any thoughts, questions, or things we need to explore or open up, just ask. Have a little play with waving hands like clouds. I think it's one of the hardest moves in the form to get right, because everything has to come together. And if things don't come together, then you haven't got the stability to step. Coming together means there has to be, you have to fall into stability. You have to be stable in order to step and change hands. You don't want your stability to come from tightening, and you don't want your stability to come from shifting your center of gravity. So your stability, this has to be like water going down a plug hole, which is the center of the foot, which comes from the third loosening exercise. Comes from the stability of the third loosening exercise. For beginners, they tend to turn and get loose. Fold the hip, fold the hip. And it takes an amount of training to get that lift down another layer. So the lift stops here and they turn. What we want is that lift to travel right down underneath the ground. So the support from the ground comes right back through the body. Not just the leg, not just the leg stable, but the whole body stable, balanced. I was talking the other week about those, when you see those stones on the beach, you know, the ones that are balanced on top of each other, really precariously, delicately balanced. And our body needs to be very, very similar to that. The base, the upper body, and the shoulders and the head. Three parts of the body loosely balanced on top of each other, not held and bound together to keep us stable, but loosely balanced. So the base needs to be organized. Then the upper body can be placed. The shoulders and head can be placed. Then we can step. And as we change position, all those balances, the way the base and the body relate to each other as we change position, and as our stability changes from one foot to another, as the substantiality of the body changes from one side to the other, everything needs to adjust to the new positions, the new situation. And in that, the body adjusts. And this is what we have to do very carefully at this point here, so we can step and change. Step and change. It's not something we can do and fix in one session. It's something that takes time to understand and develop. Too much collapse in the body and it's too floppy and it hasn't got the support it needs. Too hard and it hasn't fully released through to the ground and under the ground, and it's rigid. And there's a midpoint. And each of the muscle groups can be either too soft or too hard. And then they need to be working together. So once we got to the last one, we open up the heel, we pivot on the heel. This is done by the hips turning, not by the foot. It's done by the hips turning. Then when we move on to the left foot, the right toes come in, and that's pivoting on the heel. And again, it's done with the turning of the hips. And then the sinking through to the foot is opening the lower back and dropping the shoulders, the hands turn over. Hands always in the center of the body. They haven't moved away from the center. Then when I move onto the left foot, there's still further turning. As the right heel comes off the ground, there's still further turning, anti-clockwise. When I turn back, that's when I drop the hands and swing through. The wrist arrives at exactly the same time as the right heel. If you look at my hands, these are going up, these are going down. It's like 8 in a row. There's about a fist distance between them, but they're not in line here. About halfway between the elbow and the wrist, circle this shape, but the fingers are in line. So it's like that. One's in front of the other, they're slightly apart, but they're not level. They're like that. This is the hook. 8 in a row. Swing through that position. Once they've swung through, sink into both, and what you're looking for is the base creeping in. When you're in the center and you're connected, there's a small increase in substantiality of the back leg, which brings the force through. The shoulders relax and sink, the body drops down, the leg increases its substantiality, and the force comes through to the hand. It's like it's squeezed out, like toothpaste in the bottom of it. When you squeeze the bottom of the tube, the toothpaste comes out the other end. The force you put in is nowhere near the other end, but the movement of the squeeze at the bottom of the toothpaste, tons of toothpaste comes out the other end. The squeeze is the foot against the ground. The substantiality of the leg is the force that goes through the toothpaste tube. The movement of the toothpaste out is the small expansion into the back of the hook. Move on to the right leg. Step left. You don't have to step at 90 degrees. As soon as you turn the hips, the foot turns to 90 degrees. Then as soon as the front foot is turned, the continuation of the hips brings in the back foot, and then the final settling down squares the body to the direction you want to be in. Small increase in substantiality in the back foot expands both hands. One of the ways you can increase the substantiality is to contract them. They call it borrowing the force from the ground. You can either, for beginners, push the foot into the ground like you want to jump. It's a bit gross. It works because it gets the mind feeling the foot does something. When you issue, the foot does something. The foot changes its quality. The next thing you can do is, instead of pushing the foot, open up the back knee. It's more subtle and it has more of an effect through the body. It's still gross, but it means that the back foot and knee are active while you're issuing. The next thing you can do to get the back leg to be substantial is to drop the upper body. When you relax the upper body, lower back open, shoulders drop, the back foot, the back leg becomes more substantial. This is like squeezing the bottom of the toothpaste. Something can come, the shoulders can drop and the arms can expand. Have a play. See what you can find from diagonal flying. Then we'll put that into a longer sequence. Just get a time check. Going across the center 7 times in wave hands like clouds. Across the center means you're facing 12 o'clock. Moving to the left, facing 12 o'clock. 1. And then moving back to the right, facing 12 o'clock. 7 times you face 12 o'clock. And on the last one, don't drop the hands until you turn back. Into the center. Expand. Okay, good. Does that, Jim, does that help clarify a little bit?
Yeah, that's really great, Luke. Yeah,
Okay, great.
I think
Is there anything else in there to look at?
no, that's really cleared it up. I think I'll need to practice it, obviously, with that level of detail.
Yeah, sure.
That I think that's going to help a lot because I've been getting to that stage of the form, thinking just not comfortable with it. So I think that'll help a lot.
Okay, great. Good, 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 good. One of the nice things is the moves of the form enable us, the principles are there to be found within the moves.
Yeah, I think as we go into more of these inner principles, you get to stages of the form like that where what you were doing don't work quite,
Yeah.
don't fit with the principle,
Yeah, you have to change your timing.
Yeah, like what I was doing was one of the things I was doing was just very simply instead of I was moving the weight as I did this,
Right.
which isn't a
Right.
big deal, but it does actually feel much better to bring the arms up like the golf swing, like you said,
Yeah.
and then bring the
Yeah.
weight on.
Yeah, sure.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
so details
It's
like that which need continually refining. That's great.
if you think about what's if you think about what's happening, if you swing through and move the weight, um, if you were to do something with a partner, you'd be moving into them. When we touch someone in Tai Chi, we want to be very light and not give away our momentum or our center or let them know where we are. So if we're moving in at the same time, there's got a lot of force behind that because we're moving in and we're going out, and it's kind of a movement we can't stop. So when we move in very lightly here, there's almost like touch, feel, see what you find. Then move in and load up your base so your partner doesn't even know you're loading up your base. So your partner doesn't know there's a wave of force that's going to come. So that's why this is very light. It's like we're stepping in without pushing our way in. We're just lightly moving in towards the partner. And then when we move in, underneath we're loading up in order to expand into them. That loading up, that sinking and loading up, when we touch them, that sinking and load up will have the effect of disrupting their base, making them unstable because they're expecting more. When someone expects something, their muscles tighten to try and balance on it, but there's nothing to balance on. So they overshoot, which is what we're looking for always in push hands, looking to create a space for the partner to fall into rather than pushing them somewhere. Okay, let me just do a time check. Let's go through the form. Let's go from cross hands through that section up to the end of that, which is the single whip. Let's go through the form from cross hands. We want the skeletal structure of the body to support us, not the muscles. When the muscles bind around the skeleton, it gives a different strength to when the muscles loosen and the skeleton is allowed to be free. We want the skeleton to be free, so it has to be well organized. So the balance is more there, rather than being held. When we're held, we don't need to worry too much about our balance. When we loosen our muscles, our balance becomes very important, because we haven't got the same capacity. We haven't got as much leeway when we're loose. Which is why when we stand, we might feel like we could sway over. We're looking to balance the base, the upper body, and the upper part of the body together. The sinking of the shoulders are important. Drop to the right foot. Don't disturb the right foot on the ground. Turn, throw out the arm. Don't disturb the right foot. Pass the weight to the left foot. Sit away from the right hand. Slide in the toes of the right. Turn and step. It doesn't have to be to 4:30, because the turning of the hips are going to open out the right foot. As soon as the right foot's in place, keep turning the hips, bring the back toes in. The sinking of the body into the posture will open the lower back and bring the shoulders into play. The body's connected in the center, and we want the substantiality of the back leg to turn the hips. Turn back. Draw back, find the back foot. Turn open. Don't disrupt the back foot. Turn back. Don't disrupt the back foot. Find both feet. Let the tail release. Let the shoulders drop. To place the hands in position, increase the substantiality of the back leg to issue. Draw back. Don't disrupt the back leg or the foot. Find both feet. Let the lift drop, open the lower back. Feel the shoulders follow. Increase the substantiality in the back leg to borrow the force from the ground. Draw back. When you find the alignment, turn. Single whip. You don't have to step to 10:30. You can step to 11 o'clock. The first turn brings your foot open. The second turn brings the right toes in. The final turn is the settling into both feet at the sinking of the hips. Expand the back foot to both hands. Draw back. When the hands are long and level, left palm up, right palm down, balanced over the right foot, turn the hips. Turn the hips back. Step left, step right, sink onto the right foot. Hands are low, palms down, in front of the hips. Turn and jab. Don't be in a rush to jab. Wait until the turning of the body pulls on the arm to jab. Finish your turn, sinking. Finish your turn, jabbing. Try and time the movement so that you're not jabbing and you haven't sunk. You're sinking and turning. This is the same as the third loosening exercise. Substantial leg, soften the hip, sink into it. Jab. So the jab is connected. It's not just the power of your arm going out. The whole body's connected onto the right foot. Turn back, punch under elbow. Step back to repulse movement, facing 9 o'clock. on the back foot, turn open, turn back, lift the front toes, step, arrive on the back foot, pressed onto the ground, in posture, turn open, turn back, lift the front toes, step, sit back, slowly land on the back foot. As the back heel goes down, you're in posture. Ready to open. Turn back, lift the front toes, step. Sit back, slowly onto the back foot. As the back foot's pressed onto the ground, you're in posture. Turn open, turn back, lift the front toes, step. Last one, sit back. Open, turn. Drop the hands across the body. Because you're sinking, the tail releases, the shoulders follow. Drop the hands across the body. They don't come from the hands moving. It comes from the shoulders following the lower back. The lower back follows the melting of the thigh. The base changes, the back changes, the shoulders change, the posture changes. You don't have to step to 1:30. Step to 12 o'clock. First turn opens up your foot. The second turn turns in the back foot. The third turn is sink and settle, expand. Waving hands like clouds 7 times across the center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Always odd going to the left. Even going to the right. 6. Last one. 7 going to the left. Turn open the left foot. Turn in the right foot. Walk onto the left foot. Keep turning. Turn back. Drop the arms. Swing through. Lighten the right heel. Sink into both. Increase the substantiality in the back leg. Issue to the back of the right wrist. You don't have to step to 9 o'clock. You can step to 10 o'clock. The first turn of the hips turns the foot to 9 o'clock. Continue turning the hips, bring the back foot in. Continue turning the hips, settle into the posture. Increase the substantiality of the back leg to issue. So there's quite a lot in that section. There's quite a lot of the same sort of ideas we're working with. And if it's a lot, you can just choose one small part of it. If it's a lot to work with, all of that, you can choose one small thing for yourself that's of interest. Maybe it's how the feet are on the ground. Maybe it's how the lower back opens. Maybe it's how the shoulders follow the lower back. One thing is plenty. And then just see how it fits in on every move. That's the best way to train. Best way to train. Keep training what you're good at. It's not so good either. You have to kind of look at the things that are difficult for you, that you find challenging, and find a way of doing them differently. That's the best way to train. And then the things you're good at remain, and then the other things that are challenging fit in around it in a better way. But the whole of Tai Chi is like a jigsaw puzzle. When you do one little piece well, the next bit fits into it much, much better. When you change one thing, a whole other little few things change as well. So just focusing on one thing can have a dramatic effect, can have a big effect. Let's go through that. Let's go from there. We go into snake creeps down. single whip. Set yourself up, feet are flat on the ground, the weight in each part of the foot. The hips are seated, which allows the muscles around the hips and the lower back to soften, which allows your hips to turn without disrupting the feet and the knees. If the muscles here are tight, when you try and turn, you start to put tension into the ankles. But when the muscles in the hips and the lower back are soft, and you turn the hips, like just turning the hips in water, they don't adjust the rest of the legs. Body's upright, settled, shoulder girdle is dropped, fingers on the center of the line of the body, fingers at the height of the base of the neck, one span to the elbow, 90 degrees in the arm. Hook to 12 o'clock or so half 11. Snake creeps down. Don't just open the back leg. Sink your connection to the front foot. The turning of the hips opens the back foot. Keep your knee very aligned. It's bending, but keep it aligned. As soon as you've turned, open the back toes. Sit back, open the heel as you're sitting back. Sit away from the left arm, long in the left arm. Drop the whole of the left arm with a very small clockwise turn. Turn clockwise, come a bit closer. Turn clockwise, the weight's on the back leg, turn clockwise and drop the arm. Sink down, weights on the back leg, turn anti-clockwise, open up the front foot. Comes from the hips, doesn't come from the foot, comes from the hips. Then come through. Sit back, hop onto the left foot, left hand, right shoulder. Spiral down. This movement of spiraling down and sinking, very similar to this movement of spiraling down and sinking in the first loosening exercise. I'm getting all my substantiality into one leg. I'm opening the lower back. I'm letting the shoulders follow. And I'm sinking to get my substantial balance. I'm not relying on holding myself up. I'm organizing my alignment, which enables me to golden rooster on left leg, step behind, sit away from the wrist and turn. Bring the left shoulder to the hand. Again, I'm going to spiral down. It's not just a horizontal movement. There's a spiraling movement downwards. So it's turning and it's sinking at the same time. That movement enables me then to be stable and pick up the left knee. We have to combine turning, movement of the frame of the body, with sinking through the body. The sensations of sinking through the body, I went over in last week's video very carefully. Spent a whole hour, excuse me. The same sensations, even though the movement looks completely different, it's on one leg, it's sinking down and it's spiraling. It's the same changes. So Master Huang invented this open and close, up and down exercise in, I think, in the 80s or 90s. And he told Wiki Jin was living with him at the time. He was living in his house as a living student for 4 years. And he told him, everything in this one exercise is Tai Chi. Everything in Tai Chi is in this one exercise. This lift shaft going down, lift going down at the same time. Lift shaft goes down a small amount, lift goes down a long way. They arrive at the bottom at the same time. That's the analogy. Sinking. Melting, releasing, posture. It comes out of what you do with your stability. The posture isn't what it's about. The posture is the end result. Because you're stable, because you've sunk, because there's a calmness to it, because there's a quality of balance and slight pressure of the body supporting itself in a new way that isn't held. Because if you're held and you pick up your knee, you throw yourself off balance, as you know. But because you're buoyant, you've found a new relationship to the ground where your whole body is fluid and changing. You can quite happily just pick up your knee and remain balanced. This is that the posture comes out of the quality rather than the other way around. For the beginners, we learn the posture. However you can get into it is sort of fine, because it's about first knowing the shape of the posture and then putting the principles into the movement. At this level, it's about ensuring that the postures, was what Jim just said, the postures change. The quality of the posture, the shape of the posture, the timing of the posture changes according to how grounded you are and how stable you are. So it's something to explore. Good. Next week is a half term, so there's no class next week. My plan is to, I'm just going to stop the recording. I can't see it. It'll be recorded. Oh yeah. Let's change the buttons.